Hello everyone, and today we're going to tell you about the 2006 film Click. It all starts with a look at Michael, an ordinary office worker. One day, they're visited by a delegation from an Arab prince because they want a pool that can fit a lot of people, and after a few minor adjustments, the project is approved. After finishing work, Michael goes to the pool because today his son is performing there. However, Michael can't find his son right away, to the surprise of the adults around. His son's swimming coach, Bill, is also there, encouraging the boy in every way, since Michael is too busy talking on the phone instead of supporting his son. Back at home, everything starts falling apart, and Michael demands that God provide him with a remote control that can control anything. Wanting to get some fresh air, Michael drives into the city, but all the stores are already closed, except for a furniture store. As he walks through the warehouse, he notices a rather prominent door and heads straight for it. To his surprise, it's quite dark inside. At the end of the hallway, Morty is waiting for him, and he has exactly what Michael is looking for. After a couple of minutes, Morty moves a shelf aside, and behind it is the very remote control they've been looking for. Morty adds that for Michael, it's free of charge. And even though Michael starts to get suspicious, he still goes home with the brand new remote, which easily turns on the TV, just as his wife comes in behind him, bombarding him with questions. Michael casually pauses the TV, but along with it, the whole world comes to a stop. However, Michael doesn't notice this and just keeps answering her questions. Then he gets to work, but the dog is incredibly distracting. And to Michael's surprise, turning down the volume works on the dog too. All that's left is to go for a walk, where Michael tests out the fast-forward function. A new day begins. Donna's friend comes to visit their house. But Michael doesn't care, since he's learned how to project the TV right in front of his eyes, pretending to listen to them intently. After breakfast, Michael goes back to the store because he thinks he's on a talk show where he's supposed to entertain the audience. But Morty makes it clear that everything here is real. You just need to press the menu button. Now a huge range of functions opens up before Mike, and to start, he flies back to his distant childhood when he and his family went on a picnic. There, his father decided to show a coin trick, and even though Michael pretended to be surprised, in reality, he understood perfectly well what the trick was. He just didn't want to upset his father. Returning to the real world, Michael wants to figure out who is standing in front of him, but instead of an answer, he receives a business card. Arriving at work, he catches John at a rather awkward moment, but that doesn't stop him from handing over the next assignment. Upon returning home, Michael notices Ben playing with the rude neighbor, so he stops time and plays a little prank. When he enters the house, the first thing he hears is that they're expected to have dinner with Donna's parents. No matter how much he protests, Donna is adamant. And since he's not interested in that, Michael uses the fast-forward function, skipping an entire day. But almost immediately, another argument starts, and the remote comes to the rescue again. Late at night, Michael remembers the business card and dials the number. Just a second later, Morty appears at his door, astonishing him. Morty explains that when Michael uses the fast-forward, he simply transfers his consciousness to the desired moment, while his physical body lives through an ordinary day. After the conversation, Michael notices that he's starting to get a runny nose. It's the perfect time to fast-forward, jumping straight to bed. From this point on, he fast-forwards through everything he considers routine, his morning shower, the commute to work. But whenever he sees something interesting, he always slows down time. When he arrives at work, John asks if Mike has finished the project. Obviously, because of all the fast-forwarding, Michael doesn't know, but he still reaches into his bag. There, a completed plan was waiting for him, and then John moves on to the main part of the meeting. But Mike gets bored and messes with John however he wants. That evening, some wealthy Japanese businessmen visited their company. And since Mike doesn't know Japanese, he finds a real-time translation function. It turns out the Japanese aren't particularly interested in the meeting because what matters most is the final revenue. So as soon as everyone sits down at the table, he proposes a plan where everyone can make money, astonishing John, while the Japanese happily celebrate together. Thanks to this deal, Michael returns home with gifts. Donna says that today she heard on the radio the song that was playing on the day they met. But here's the problem. Michael has no idea what she's talking about, which causes him to rewind back many years. A new day begins. Michael, as always, arrives at work. John informs him that Michael still hasn't become a partner. Obviously, Michael doesn't like this news very much, so he immediately stops time and gives out a couple of slaps. John is amazed at how his head could start hurting so badly in just a second. That evening, he visits Morty again, saying that he's considering rewinding time to when he gets promoted. Morty says just one phrase. There was a leprechaun who spent his day searching for a pot of gold, but when he found it, it was only filled with cereal. But it seems Michael didn't understand what he meant, so he starts fast-forwarding time. A whole year later, Michael comes to his senses, and yet he thought there were at most a couple of weeks left until his promotion. But the constant arguments with Donna didn't go away, and Michael fast-forwards time again, jumping straight to a family dinner. The kids have grown a lot, and instead of the old dog, there's a new one. Michael asks, "Where's Sanderson?" And Donna replies, "In the ground," sending Michael into a fit of hysteria. That night, he calls Morty again, who, as always, teleports in out of nowhere. Morty explains that the remote has adapted to Michael, and now it fast-forwards everything Michael has fast-forwarded before. Without much thought, he tries to get rid of the remote, but it comes back to him. A new day begins. Michael does his best to avoid noticing things that could trigger the fast-forward, like taking a shower, putting on his work uniform, or driving a car, which amazes John. After all, his employee showed up in a bathrobe. Michael explains that it doesn't matter what they're wearing if their main goal is to improve the company. Hearing these words, John rips off his jacket along with his shirt. John adds that he wants to step down as director, and it is Michael who should become his successor. This triggers another fast-forward. A whole 10 years go by. Michael has changed quite a lot, but the remote hasn't disappeared. Not wanting to walk home on foot, he simply fast-forwards time. At home, his son was waiting for him, who had also grown in size. But his daughter was the complete opposite. Only Donna had hardly changed, except now she was dating Bill. Not understanding what was going on, Michael goes on the attack. Donna intervenes in their scuffle, while the world returns to normal again. Morty once again tells Michael that he can change his future. So Michael starts writing a note and gives a little massage. But as soon as time starts moving again, the dog delivers a critical blow. 6 years later, he regains consciousness, now in a hospital. Donna tells him that after the incident, the doctors did a CT scan where they noticed a cancerous tumor in time and removed it. Leaving the hospital room, he can't believe his eyes. His face is everywhere, and his son has joined his company. But what's even more interesting, how did he manage to lose weight? To which he replies, "I work out 3 times a week with Bill." In any case, Michael suggests that the whole family get together for dinner, including his father. But his son has bad news. The grandfather is gone, and Michael breaks down in tears. Standing at his grave, he tries to go back to the day he passed away. But Morty says he can't do that, because his mind was fast-forwarding through time at that moment. But still, he shows the day when his father came to the office asking to arrange a meeting with Michael and his son, even performing his signature coin trick. But Michael tells him to leave. He has too little time. Back at the cemetery, Morty introduces himself as the Angel of Death. Not understanding what's going on, Michael simply fast-forwards time straight to his son's wedding, where he has a heart attack. When he comes to, he sees his children. Ben says he needs to leave for about a month, and since today was the wedding, Michael assumes it's because of the honeymoon. But Ben clarifies it's for work. Hearing this, Michael does his best to talk his son out of it, but Ben is adamant. Fully realizing that Ben is following in his footsteps, Michael musters his strength, gets out of bed, and in the process disables the medical staff. Morty sees all of this and says that the equipment was keeping him alive. But Michael isn't interested in that. He needs to talk to his son, call the kids. Michael rushes forward, but his heart gives out. But Ben notices him. Michael spends his last moments asking Ben to always put family above any job. And to Bill, he simply says hello. Suddenly, Michael wakes up in the furniture store, which makes him incredibly happy, and he rushes home at full speed. Because he has news, they're all going camping together. Morty hands him the remote one more time, but Michael just throws it away. That's where the movie ends. And we're really interested to know how you rate this film. We recommend something interesting. We'll see you again very soon. Bye.